Welcome back, everybody. This is one of those making a point video. It has to be made because these arguments are so silly and stupid. This all started yesterday. Real Talk with Roy posted one of my videos talking about how these companies are running like a bunch of cheapskates. Poorly designed, AI, algorithm, programming, you name it. Then Mr. Robert Reese came on afterwards and tried to say that, Dino, show us the proof, show us the evidence. Where's the proof? Where's the evidence? My answer to that is very clearly. And you'll get to hear the same answer from a lot of delivery drivers out there. Mr. Robert Reese, where have you been for the past 5 and 6 years? You've been living under a rock? Where have you been? Is it news to you? It is news to you. You know why? It's very understandable. You spend all these years fighting with who? Fighting with Mr. Flex, fighting with Roy, back and forth. Yeah, you become friends with Roy, then you become enemies again, fighting again, then friends again, then enemies again. Fighting with Bobby, fighting with other drivers, fighting with other members on the lounge. And that has been the trend for years on end. And that's the content. Obviously, there's no room or time to look at the gig economy companies. God forbid. When you're wasting and spending all that effort and time with other delivery drivers and fighting and bashing one another constantly, everything is going to sound news to you. There it is. Let's not leave out that taking content from other creators on YouTube and using it without their permission, let's not leave that out. And it was always about the drama. That's it. But don't let me answer that. Let's let thousands of drivers answer that question. Has Robert Reese been doing mostly bashing other drivers out there and getting into fights and arguments with other drivers for years on end? Yes or no? And we'll let the masses of delivery drivers answer that. Now, don't let me answer that. Let's let the masses of delivery drivers answer that question. Let's make it fair. And I'll leave it at that. And if you wanted some evidence, here's some more. All right, for all those people that had questions about whatever or not I have any information, or where do I get my information from, or do you have any evidence? That's right here. All I did was type into the Google, is DOORDASH app AI poorly designed? And the very top answer is from Search Labs. Search Labs is the top search for reviews for anything that you do on Google worldwide. Search Labs AI overview. It's right there. Search Labs AI overview. Especially somebody from California. And you know who? Trying to tell me like they don't know already, like they're not using the apps themselves, like we haven't made millions of freaking videos with all the content creators that have gotten responses from drivers that are having issues, like it's non-existent. Well, here it is. When you bring it up, it's right here. What does it say? When I type in, is DOORDASH app AI poorly designed? What does it say? Yes. Based on user reviews and design critiques. People who design this shit. People who design these programs. The DOORDASH app has usability issues, including glitches, poor navigation, and difficulty finding accurate delivery information.
particularly for drivers. It doesn't say for customers, mostly for drivers, particularly for drivers. There it is. And here's a more detailed breakdown of the issues. You can read it there yourselves. For drivers, poor navigation and glitches. Drivers report frequent glitches, poor navigation, and delayed support responses, making the job more difficult. Is that Dino saying this? Well, it's not Dino saying this. They're saying it right here. Lack of information. Drivers cannot see how far they will have to travel before accepting an order, and sometimes don't know the customer's address until they have the food. Unclear instructions. Dashers may lack clear instructions regarding drop-off locations, leading to incorrect deliveries. Sounds familiar. Difficult app. Some users find the app itself is made to be difficult to use. New version issues. A new version of the app has been criticized for being terrible. There it is. Oh, we got for customers here. Oh, we got some more. Wrong delivery location. Many users complain about food being delivered to the wrong location, particularly in complex apartment buildings. There it is. Checkout page. The continue button on the checkout page should be relabeled go to checkout for better clarity. And then when you scroll some more, where does it say there on Reddit? Well, what we just read, it was not Reddit. What we just read here, this is from the Search Labs AI Overview, the top of the world. That's why whatever you type in there right now on Google, this is the first thing you're going to get. You're going to get Search Labs AI Overview. That's the very first thing you get when you're doing searches. Right now on Google. Try it. You always get Search Labs AI Overview. For a lot of shit you put up. And then you get the rest of the stuff on the bottom. What does it say here on Reddit? Why is the DoorDash app so bad? There you go. And there you go. There's Mr. Bet on You on the same search. DoorDash is the worst it has been. Deactivate the app now. Here's another one. How is DoorDash so incompetent? This is just DoorDash. Let's not get into the spark. So there you have. You guys can do the survey yourselves. You can do the evidence yourselves. Okay, it's right there.
There you go. How much more evidence do you need? Search Labs doesn't take one or two drivers' word for it. As you can see on the video, if you look back to it, they take information from 5 years ago up to today. All the responses and all the replies from not just delivery drivers, even designers themselves, talking about the app. And they get a percentage and they make the conclusion, and you saw it right there. There's your evidence. And drivers themselves have talked about it as well. But you wasted too much time and spending too much time fighting with other drivers. Obviously, you're not going to know. For you, as far as you're concerned, who cares? But when somebody else talks about it, oh, what is he talking about? You're supposed to be the news channel talking about the gig economy companies. That should be the focus mostly, about gig economy content creators. That's the main focus right there. Not bashing and fighting with other drivers years on end. Just with Mr. Flex, how long did that last? More than a year. It's been going on for 2 years. Even more than that. And other content creators, how long those arguments and fights have been going on? That's the main focus of your channel. There you go. Enough said. Am I lying? We'll let the masses yes or no on that too. Enough of it. Just enough of it. And as far as checker goes, everybody knows about checker. The people who didn't experience it, because it's an isolated issue. It only affected people that were moving from one state to another and they had to get a new license. This is going on 4 years ago. I made that video. And I got responses from people who did move from another state that had the same issues. You want evidence? Do it yourself. Ask your subscribers. Why don't you do that? But you guys are spending too much time fighting and picking fights and arguments and topics about other delivery drivers with weeks, months, and years on end. So obviously you're not gonna look into this shit. You don't care for it, you're not gonna know. It's all news to you. I'll leave it at that. We'll let the people decide. How about that? We'll make it fair. We'll let the delivery community decide. And here's something to add. When you're hiring a company like Checker, how do you know what's professionally or not? Like it takes a genius or rocket science to figure this out. They hire a company like Checker, and Checker is informing the gig economy company that they have a driver for 2 years driving with an expired license. Pretty much driving without a license. Is that a red flag to the gig economy company itself? The first thing they should have said, how the fuck you finding this now? And this driver, let's say if it was a fact, which is not, but let's say if it was a fact that this driver was driving without a license for 2 years, we're wasting our money, we're giving you money to help us out, and you're telling us we have a driver for 2 years and you're finding out the facts now, which is not facts, that the driver that we hired for 2 years would be driving and doing deliveries for us with no license. Don't you think the first red flag and the first thing that the gig economy company would say, we can get sued for this. We can get into big trouble for this shit. Why did we hire this company Checker? They don't know what they're doing. They didn't do any of that. So I send them my updated driver's license. It says expires in 2035. And what did the gig economy say? Well, we don't deal with that anymore. You have to send that information to Checker because they're dealing with it from now on. We hire them to do that and it goes through them. They're going to inform us. Yeah, but Mr. Gig Economy Company yourself, that's fine. But now I'm sending you proof that they send you information about my license is being expired for 2 years, but I'm sending you proof that I'm driving with a good standing driver's license, and it's from another state, and expires in the year 2035. The first thing that should pop in your heads as a gig economy company is like, this company Checker, they're worthless. They're a piece of shit. They're the worst company. Why did we hire them? No. What they had to say was, send it to them and they deal with it. And I'm sending you evidence how bad they operate, how worthless they are. And even to today, they still have Checker. They still, you know why? Because they go to the cheapo depot route. And they know the issue. They know the issue. They don't care themselves. So they're not professional themselves. So obviously they're hiring another company that's unprofessional just like they are. Tell me who your friends are so I can tell you who you are. That's how that works. And if we haven't learned the lesson through growing up in life, grown as people, you never heard the phrase that you get what you pay for. You go in cheap, the results are going to be cheap. That's how that works. But I guess we never learned that lesson in life. It's just, Dino is just talking nonsense. Dino's just making things up. And most of the stuff is not coming from Dino. Most of the stuff is coming from them themselves. The gig economy companies themselves. This is going on with other tons of content creators out there talking about this shit. Yeah, they're not talking about it every day, but it has come up. But you guys never bother doing that. You know why? Because you guys don't care about the gig economy companies or what they're doing or what they're not doing. All you care about is picking fights, talking about other drivers, and arguments with other drivers, and that's it. That's all the content there is. And anything that is not gig economy related, pretty much. When it's a gig economy topic, it's always about other drivers. 99% of it. And I've said, yes or no, we'll let that answer given by other delivery drivers. In the comments, enough said, there it is, that's that. Point made. I hope this point was understood and embedded with a seal of approval. What kind of society or people we are in America? There we are. Enough said. Later.